Many seasons have passed since the central mining colony of Dalcor Set of the Titanian star system was abandoned by its former occupants. The cold silence at the ruins of a desolate industrial settlement was broken as two patrol groups of the High Elf fleets and of the robot legions were deployed in the area. Fully aware of each other's presence, the two factions both have their own reasons for scouting the area and cannot let the other interfere. Conflict was inevitable. This is a battle report for a game of OnePageRules Grimdark Future. It is played using the basic rules with 1500 points lists adhering to force organization. At the time of playing, the rules were at version 3.3.0, with the assault rule and changes to the rules for shaken units being the most notable updates from its previous version. I, the narrator, play the High Elf fleets, while my opponent plays the robot legions. Here is my list. An elven noble is attached to a unit of shifters. The noble himself is equipped to match the shifter's characteristics, so he will have a teleport pack and a spinner gun. He also has a stinger blade in case his unit is engaged in melee. This unit will be placed in reserve to be deployed turn 2 onwards. An elite protector is the other hero in the list. He has caster 3 and is accompanied by 3 elemental strikers with shields and energy spears. I've not yet painted my Wraithblade miniatures at the time, so the elementals will be proxied using my Grey Knight Terminator minis, which aren't exactly grey either. There is an anti-grav APC transport with hologram field upgrade and twin shard cannons, plus a light shard cannon slung underneath the hull. Finally, I have a combined unit of 10 Retributors with 2 twin shard carbines and 1 carrying a flicker shield and a dire sword. This will give the unit regeneration while the shield bearer is alive, and a blast weapon in combat. The Retributors will be sitting inside the APC transport at the start of the game and will be deployed inside. Now for my opponent's list. A Robot Lord will be accompanied by a combined unit of 10 Guardians. They all have jetpacks, meaning that they can ambush and charge due to the Swift rule. The Lord is a Psychomancer, so it will give the unit a strong resistance to spell attacks, as well as an additional 6+ save on top of the robot's self-repair. The guards are equipped with shields and all models have hyper swords. This makes for a really tough unit with a base save of 2+, with not 1, but 2 6+ feel no pain saves. Oh, and those hyper swords are rending too. We have another Robot Lord, but this one is accompanied by a combined unit of 10 warriors with Reaper rifles and 2 flamecasters. The Lord is an Overseer, negating the slow rule. It carries a Void Sword and a custom Lord Gauss rifle. We have a unit of 3 Tri-Scorpions, 2 of which have Reaper Blades, and the other one has a heavy Reaper Blade that can deal deadly 3 damage. As well as having high offensive capabilities, these guys are pretty hardy as well, having tough 3 each, with a defense of 3+. There are 3 Hoverbikes with Atom Beamers. These are one of the few fast units in the faction, and can zip across the battlefield, harassing the enemy with their guns. Finally, we have a combined unit of 6 Bot Swarms. They have a quality and defense of 6+, which is as poor as they can get, but when combined with tough, robot and rending attacks, they can give you a nasty surprise. With the basic rules, a d3 is rolled and we add 2 to the result to get the number of objectives. I got 1 on the roll, therefore we had 3 objectives to place. We rolled off for objectives placement and took turns placing the objectives. Objective 1 was placed in the centre within the ruins that we treat as difficult terrain. Objective 2 was placed towards the bottom left, while Objective 3 was placed at the top right. Initiative roll was won by my opponent, who chose to deploy on the top board edge. Both sides declare the units that begin in reserve for ambushing. For the High Elves, it was the Elven Noble, joined by the Shifters, and for the Robot Legions, it was the Robot Lord with its Guardians. So, deployment began with the robots, starting with the Swarm bots positioned near Objective 3. For the High Elves, the anti-grav APC containing the 10 Retributors was deployed close to Objective 2. The Robot Lord and 10 warriors were placed at the center facing down on Objective 1. For the second and last deployment of the High Elves, the Elite Protector and his Striker Elementals were placed also at the center. The Tri-Scorpions then deployed opposite the Elven APC behind cover and out of line of sight. Finally, the Robot Hoverbikes were positioned next to the Tri-Scorpions on the outer flank. The robots make their first move with the bot swarms, which scuttle forward onto Objective 3. The engine of the High Elf APC gave a mighty roar, and the elegantly crafted vehicle darted towards the center. It trained its weaponry against the robot warriors and shoots the combined shard cannons with 8 shots, and it hits 6 times. The robot warriors save 4 wounds after their defense roll and self-repair, therefore only 2 warriors go down. Unfazed by the attack, the warriors advance under their lord's command. The lord and about half of the warriors, not including the flamers, were in shooting range of the APC with the Lord Gauss rifle and the Reaper rifles. The ancient Gauss weaponry blasts away electromagnetically charged rounds capable of tearing through armor. However, the hologram field on the Elven APC disrupts the robot's targeting capability as only 2 rounds hit it. Nonetheless, they manage to cause a single wound on the APC's armor, leaving it with 5 wounds left. The High Elf Elite Protector guides his elementals forward, ensuring to keep them out of the threat range of the robot bikes. He casts Creator, after spending 2 spell tokens required to cast the spell, and an additional token to reduce the required roll down to 3+. The spell casting succeeds, and veils of shimmering light descends upon both the APC and the elementals. They will receive +1 to defense rolls next time they take hits. The robot hoverbikes zoom around the ruins, readying themselves to take Objective 2 and to outflank the High Elves in the next turn. Then, the squad of Retributors jump out of the Elven APC. They quickly get in position to take aim and unleash a hail of shards. Out of 22 shots, 10 shots hit, killing another 7 robots. A single Flamecaster wielding warrior and its lord remain standing. They take a morale test and pass it. Finally, the robot Tri-Scorpions rush towards the kill zone, with their blades sharpened to reap elven heads like Damascus blade cutting through tofu. At the end of the first turn, the robots capture Objective 3, while the elves take Objective 1 at the center. Objective 2 was ignored by the elves. Since the robots finish the turn with their activation, the elves will have the first go of the next turn. Both sides declare ambush. The robot army wins the roll-off and deploys first. The robot lord with the 10 guardians position themselves on the right, ready to murder the High Elf elementals. The High Elf noble and his 5 shifters deployed on the other side on Objective 2 to intercept the hoverbikes. The shifters execute their plan immediately using the first activation of the turn. They receive the robot bikes with a cloud of monofilament wires spun from their web spinner guns. 2 bikes drove right into the cloud and were immediately diced up. The last bike manages to make an evasive maneuver. 7 wounds were dealt in total, killing 2 bikes and leaving the last bike with 2 wounds remaining. The bike fails the morale test, but thanks to the robot rule, it manages to hold firm, losing no more additional wounds. The newly materialized Robot Lord orders a charge with his guardians straight at the High Elf Protector guarded by the Elementals. Out of a total of 23 attacks, 20 hits, 4 wounds were made by the rending hits with AP4. Only 3 more wounds were made on the Elementals, killing 2 of them, with the last Elemental on 2 wounds remaining. The protection spell cast in the last turn and the energy shields carried by the Elementals had spectacularly managed to save the Elementals from a complete wipeout. The last Elemental strikes back at the Robot Guardians with his energy spear, while the Elite Guardian uses his reliable Master Stinger Blade. With their combined efforts, 2 Guardians were felled. However, this was not good enough to win the combat, and the Elves fail their morale test. As they are now below half strength, it would have meant the unit would rout, but luckily the Elementals are fearless and it manages to pass its second roll. All the same, it was a brutal assault indeed. The Elven Retributors move towards the robot Tri-Scorpions. They block one of the entry point of the ruins leading to Objective 1. They then shoot the Scorpion with a volley of shard rounds, managing to kill exactly one Scorpion with 3 wounds. The bot swarms leap out of their positions and move fast into the ruins, crawling over the rubble with terrifying speed. They end up on Objective 1, as well as in base contact against the Retributors. Despite having quality 6, their attacks are all rending, and every hit would be at AP 4 that nullifies the Retributors' regeneration from their flicker shield. 4 Retributors were overwhelmed by the small arachnid bots, chewing through their light armor and gnawing on their flesh underneath. The Retributors then exact retribution upon the bot swarms, the dire sword blasting away and the rifleman stomping on the metal bugs, dealing 3 wounds and removing a single model. The elves lose the combat again, but pass their morale test. Then their APC moves forward to reinforce the Retributors and fires its turrets at the robot scarabs, dealing another 3 wounds and removing the second model of the unit. Meanwhile, the last remaining robot hoverbike moves to contest Objective 2 against the Elven Shifters and fires upon them. However, it only makes 1 hit and it is repelled by the armor worn by the Shifters. The Elite Protector decides to run away from his assailants and goes for the opportunity to grab Objective 3. On the way, he successfully casts Destroyer on the bot swarms, doing more damage, enough to reduce the unit below half of its original strength. Including the failed robot tests, 5 wounds were inflicted in total. The Robot Lord, accompanied by a lone Flamer, decides to intercept this with an assault move, but neither the Flamer nor the Lord's Gauss Rifle does any damage to the Elemental's armor, and the melee that followed ends up being indecisive, with both parties not causing any damage to each other. The combat is a draw, and the Robot Lord backs away. With no more units to activate on the Elven side, the Robot Tri-Scorpion unit activates and charges the Elven Retributors. The blades cut down 3 more Retributors, not before their flicker shield finally breaking. I chose to remove the model with the flicker shield as I felt the unit's job was done, and it was better to maximize the number of shots that can be fired by the remnants of the unit. The Retributors pass their morale tests, and so concludes Turn 2. With Objective 1 and 2 contested, and Objective 3 captured by the elves. The High Elves begin the turn. With the fight turning desperate, the Elite Protector decides to take a gamble by spending all spell tokens to cast Curse, a level 3 spell, in the hope to simultaneously cause damage to the bot swarms and the nearest Robot Lord. However, he was unable to channel enough focus and the spellcasting flops. Frustrated with his failure, he decides to lead the Elemental in a charge against the Robot Lord. The Elemental cleaves the bodyguard, and the Elite Protector causes a wound on the Robot Lord, who in turn deals 1 wound on the Elemental. Having lost the combat, the Robot Lord makes a morale test and passes. In the robot's activation, the hoverbike assaults the Shifters. However, the Shifters miraculously save the 2 hits from the Atom Beamer with save rolls of 6s, and the melee attacks from the bike did not do anything to the Shifters either. In return, the Shifters managed to cause another wound on the hoverbike, and following a failed morale test and robot save, it loses its last wound. What a disaster. The unscathed Shifters run into the ruins and teleports further forward to shoot the Tri-Scorpions, managing to kill another Scorpion and leave the last Scorpion with 2 wounds remaining. The last Scorpion passes its morale test. The bot swarms once again jump on the Retributors, and yet another elf is bitten to death. The Retributors fail to cause any damage back, but they find enough courage and hold their ground. The anti-grav APC falls back to keep out of charge range from the Robot Lord with the Jetpack Guardians. In doing so, it places its invisible foot on Objective 2, which is now freed up after the demise of the robot hoverbikes. The APC shoots at the bot swarms and deals 5 wounds, leaving just 1 model with 1 wound remaining. The last bot fails both its morale test and its robot save. It is wiped off the board. That's the second unit destroyed due to the failed robot save. The last robot Scorpion maneuvers around the ruins onto Objective 1 and charges the Retributors. A clever tactical play, as this means that even if the Retributors survive the combat, Scorpion would stay on the objective. As it happens, it simply manages to kill off both remaining Retributors. Maybe I should have kept the Flicker Shield after all. With no more Elven units to activate, the lone Robot Lord decides to join the Scorpion on Objective 1, giving room for the other Lord and its retinue to charge at the Elite Protector. It then decides to shoot at him. The last Elemental takes the hit and is destroyed, leaving just the Elite Protector standing. With his lower quality, he fails his morale test and is shaken. Now he can't claim or contest any of the objectives. However, this turned out to be a critical error on the robot's side, as it meant the Elite Protector was now out of charge range of the other Robot Lord's unit. The other Robot Lord, unable to charge, moves on to Objective 3, taking it off from the Elves' control. At the end of the turn, the robots have captured Objectives 1 and 3, while the Elves have captured Objective 2. We now approach the finale of the battle, as we enter the fourth and the final turn. The Elves once again activate first, and the APC shifts forward to block the last Tri-Scorpion from Objective 2 and shoots its shard cannons at it. Despite hitting with 7 out of the 8 shots, none of them hit on a 6 to gain the benefit of AP4, and the Tri-Scorpion managed to save all of the hits between its defense rolls and self-repair.
What?
The Scorpion then charges the Elven Noble and the Shifters, cleaving 2 Shifters in half. The Shifters fight back, desperately swinging their heavy guns at the Scorpion. With a stroke of luck, they actually manage to kill it off. Having defeated its enemy in combat, the Elven Noble consolidates his unit towards the center of the field. Inspired by the bravery of his kin, the Elite Protector channels all his psychic energy into casting Soul Seeker upon the Robot Lord and destroys him, all the while remaining shaken. Now, Objective 1 was a robot-free zone, and the other Robot Lord did not like that at all. It musters its guardians and marches onto the objective, spreading the unit out as much as possible to keep the Elven Noble from capturing it. In response, the Elven Noble abandons the idea of capturing the center objective and rushes towards Objective 2, which the Robot Lord was forced to leave open. With the additional boost in movement from its teleporter, the unit shifts onto the objective, ending its activation, the turn, and the game. I almost forgot how fast a unit of Shifters can be, mainly because I'm so used to shooting with them. The result of the battle is a High Elf fleet victory with 2 objectives captured to 1. Well, that was intense and really close. Towards the end, I really thought the best result I could get was a draw, particularly when the APC couldn't cause any wounds on the last Tri-Scorpion, let alone removing it entirely, like I hoped it would. In other areas though, I was very lucky, such as the Shifters not taking any damage until the last turn and killing off both the Hoverbike and Tri-Scorpion in melee. Who would have thought puny elven karate punches could plow through the metal robot armor? I also think I got away easy from the rules update, particularly for shaken units. While my Elite Protector becoming unable to capture objectives was a significant blow in the last turn, it was his spellcasting that removed the last model on the center objective, forcing my opponent out of another objective. I hazard the fact that spellcasting not being affected by the caster being shaken is an oversight and not intended by the game designer, but we'll see what the future updates bring. In any case, my opponent and I both really enjoyed this game and hopefully we will have a rematch soon.